Ooh.
Hello. It's funny, the more videos I start to do, the more I notice some of the ones that just do the best are the ones of me sitting and talking and sharing certain experiences, which is ironic because I thought you all would want to see cool, fun travel things. But no, you just want to hear me talk for some reason, and I don't know why. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Howe, and I do a bunch of different things between the worlds of tech and entertainment. But one of the things I did, where a lot of you know me from, is the fact that I was Miss Canada 2017 and 2018. It was an interesting chapter of my life. I'm very transparent about that. I think it was one of the best and worst years of my life. I'll do a video explaining why in the near future, but I would like to film a few videos just saying, you know, what are some key lessons that I learned? What are things that people can take away from these experiences, and by talking about it, how they can value anyone else. Or I really want to spark a discussion, a healthy conversation, a healthy debate on certain things within this realm. In this video specifically, I want to talk about what competing at Miss Universe, placing the top 10, taught me about failure. I hope this helps with any of you. This is just something I think is near and dear to my heart because I see so many girls, whether it's through pageants or through these different things, so many people let failure affect them for far too long, and they let the burden of failure hold them back in life. And I've definitely done that myself. If you're competing at something that's at a very high level, you are a competitive personality by nature. And then if you don't win, that competitive personality kicks in where, not to quote good old Talladega Nights, but
if you ain't first, you're last, you know?
That's exactly how you feel leaving the circumstance. I was just listening to this on the Happiness podcast, which I encourage all of you to check out, where they compare and analyze certain facial expressions of Olympic medalists. So those who are bronze, silver, and gold. And essentially that person who plays silver, their facial expressions show the highest levels of, quote, agony, rather than the person who plays third or first. And it's something to keep in mind when you're watching. I know a lot of you are Miss Universe fans. It's something to keep in mind at that level of just because someone might look frustrated, look upset, they're allowed to feel that frustration. When you want to work towards a goal, people tell you all of these tips and tricks, right? Visualize it, take a note from The Secret and put it out into the universe. If you believe you can do it, then you can do it. And not to be pessimistic, but at the end of the day, it is still a reality check and a numbers game that not everyone can win. Not everyone can get a gold medal. Not everyone can be Miss Universe. Every single year through this competition, you have people that are working incredibly hard, that are very talented, that are laser focused, that I'm sure are doing all these things like staying laser focused, visualizing their goal. And at the end of the day though, there may be only one person to win the title. There may be only one person to actually get that job position. So dealing with failure is something I think everybody eventually deals with, no matter what scale or what circumstance it is. Learning to manage that failure in the most optimal way is the most critical part. Now, for context, competing for Miss Universe. I competed for Miss Canada once, placed second runner-up, and hung up the towel, said that was a great experience, cool, I'm moving on. I finished my degree, did some work in media, went back, and at the time, IMG had then taken over Miss Universe. And they went through a big rebranding phase, and I said, you know what, as much as I failed the first time, I've spent these past 2 years growing in a different field. Should I or should I not go back into it? And Sierra Birchall was Miss Canada at the time, a actual friend of mine. Sierra and I had been friends for years before that because we both happened to be Miss Teen Canadas. No, we are not Honey Boo Boos. We both entered Miss Teen Canada completely on a whim looking for scholarships, and it worked out. And that's how we got to know each other originally, that when she was Miss Canada and I watched her at Miss Universe, I saw this incredible rebranding of what I wanted to be a part of. Even though I felt failure from the first time around, I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it one more go. This is what I believe in. And funny enough, Sierra and I actually finally met for the first time in person that year when she crowned me. My goal was to get to Miss Universe. And ideally, of course, to win Miss Universe. I think everybody has that goal. If you're in a competition, you have that as your main goal. If you're not, then you're not, I don't know what you're there doing. So you have 94 women from around the world that are all competing for the exact same goal. And Paula Schubert stood on stage on her first orientation day and said, look around, girls. There are 94 of you and only one is actually going to win. So be sure that you enjoy the experience, enjoy this ride. Don't take it too seriously, because it's worth forming friendships rather than necessarily leaving all that behind and all this positive thinking and positive experience behind just because you wanted to win so badly. And I think that alone is a really important lesson that personally I didn't embrace the entire experience as much, because I was dealing with a ton of crises. A number of us were, but there's a nice analogy of being a duck on a pond. Is what everybody else sees is this calm duck floating on a serene lake, but underneath are the petals just moving furiously, trying to figure things out. That's kind of what I would say a lot of people going through the competition are dealing with. And that's why being so prepared for something is important. Because if you are prepared, then you are less hectic and less rushed, and you can be in the moment a lot easier. Like Philippines is a great example, because every single year these girls are prepared like no other going into this competition, allowing them to be in a better state of, if all these things are complete, then I know I only have to execute the very end of this. On the flip side though, you also have people who are dealing with incredible pressure of needing to live up to certain expectations. But that's a separate conversation. One thing in particular that you hear a lot is to visualize your goal. That doesn't mean just think about the goal, because at the end of the day, a goal without a plan is just a dream. Write it down. What are all the steps that you need? If you can add a timeline to that, that's even better. Visualize and walk through every single step of that phase. Natalie Glebova actually gave me a variation of that piece of advice, which was to visualize every portion of your competition. In this context, was to visualize every portion of your walk, your pose. What is your look gonna be? What is your walk gonna be? Where are you gonna stop? How are you gonna pose? How long are you gonna wait there for? Close your eyes and imagine that happening. In any other context, that could be anything, whether it's asking out your crush or writing a very important test, going to that job interview that you always dreamed of. Visualize how that will happen and walk through the steps of what you're gonna do when you walk in that room. But at the end of the day, don't practice it too much. You want to be as authentic as possible, and remember that other people can read and pick up on that. Now, we all use these visualization techniques and like the secret, put it out in the universe, right? A lot of people are doing that. And there might only be one winner, the one person who gets the highest grade in the course, the one person who wins Miss Universe, that you need to always hope for the best, but plan for the worst, because life happens. It's a balancing act of being so competitive to say, on one hand, this is your everything. You need to feel a little bit of that pressure and a little bit of the weight on why this is so important. Otherwise, you might not take it too seriously. And that can be the hunger that drives you. But on the other hand, you don't want to add too much pressure in that realm, because it will take away from the moment and it may actually hinder you in the long run. So think about the plan B of, if I don't get this, what's the worst thing that will happen to me? How can I use this experience and move forward? And by having that plan in the back of your mind, if it doesn't happen, you are not completely emotionally destroyed. You can be for a bit, by all means, that's healthy. Like, cry it out, do your thing, cry it out, do whatever you gotta do. Lie in bed, hermit, watch some Netflix, watch some YouTube, whatever you gotta do. But then surface from it. By finding your balance of what is healthy for you, naturally something good will come from that failure. And I think at the end of the day, no matter any experience that you go through, be nice to people, be authentic to people, because you never know what person might tap on your shoulders or reach out and say, hey, I remember you from this competition. I remember you from this event. Would love to work on something together. It happens all the time. Phase 1, visualize how you're going to achieve your goal. Phase 2 is finding the balance of staying hungry, but make a plan B. The third phase is if you fail or feel that you failed in the moment. How do you move forward from failure? It's very tempting to live in that moment, to live in that what you think you did wrong moment, or to live in the past and stay stuck there because of whatever reason that means to you. Understand why you failed, which doesn't necessarily mean understand what you did wrong, because often you may have done nothing wrong, but understand that. It's especially in the context of a pageant, is why should anyone feel like they're less than based on the decision of another human being giving me a numbered score walking on a stage? I look back on moments sometimes and you think, oh God, if I wore a different dress, if I posed differently at the end. No. Like, I look back on when I got eliminated from the top 10, you immediately go into a state where it's like, what did I do wrong? Did I pose differently? Am I not pretty enough? Did I not walk good enough? Oh, I should have done a turn. Hold on, did I just value my self-worth and think that a major decision in my life could have been changed if I walked differently? It's what's meant to be is meant to be, and you just walk away from an experience knowing who you are, what your values are, what your goals are, and just sometimes life has a different plan for you, which you will never understand at the time. I always talk about life as an analogy of every moment is a star that appears in a sky, and when you look up, it appears random until one day you keep looking up, you keep reflecting, and you see a constellation formed, and you understand exactly why every single one of those moments has happened, which then leads you to growth. So your third phase is acceptance, understanding, and ultimately growth. What can you learn from it? Was there something you could have improved? And what was completely out of your control? And if it was out of your control and there's nothing you could have done about it or can do about it, why let that affect your life? At the end of the day, failure is a good thing. So guys, I know I have a ton of other videos planned, but I'm trying to incorporate a lot more of these chats. And if there's something or a particular topic that you would like my insight on or you want to talk about, by all means, leave me a comment below and would love to chat about it. And yes, I promise I will do predictions Miss Universe video. You can subscribe, you can like, you can comment, you can hit the bell for notifications. I still can't say things in a normal voice, huh? Hi everybody. I'm gonna stop talking now.